Hello everybody, welcome back to the cabin, welcome back to Commonwealth Flipper. We have a ton of stuff headed out of here today, 29 things headed out of here today, which is really cool and some awesome stuff, but I want to weave in this topic that I've had written down for quite a while, and I figure the new year is a great time to do it. It is the 5 most significant things in helping your items sell as you list them on eBay. And this is my opinion. There'll be some disagreement, of course, but I'm interested in getting your feedback on them, and then we're going to start taking them one at a time. Do an item, do number 4, do an item, do number 3, and then we got a bunch of stuff we got to hustle through here to get it shipped out to you. Let's go take a look. First one I had to run in and grab. It's a little bigger item. We had room in here, I suppose, but we put this one inside. This one's got a little damage on the case. It has been a long time since I sold an auto harp. This one looks to be in decent condition. The inside of the case is pretty good as well. I paid $20 for this. Sold really quickly for $95 plus shipping. I'm gonna have to make that 30 sales. Just had another sale come across, which is pretty cool, but man, I got a lot of work to do because I've got something going on tonight. I got to drop off something, pick up something in the bank, but I'm not going to make you wait for the topic here today. I'm going to start with number 5, and I got to tell you, I cheated with number 5. I talk about this stuff all the time with a bunch of people, a bunch of full-time resellers, part-time resellers, and this is what I came up with my own experience, getting their input as well. So I'm going to start with number 5, which is technically 7, 6, and 5 all combined because these are all somewhat significant and they need to be in the list, but I don't think they're definitely not in the top 4. Promotions, descriptions, and item specifics are what I'm putting at number 5. The rest of them are going to be single things, but we're going to put all 3 of these up here because really this list is determined by a lot of factors, and one of them is how you sell and what you sell, and that's different for all of us. And I don't promote very much at all. Very, very, very few items. But I know a lot of people do. And a lot of folks out there who are great resellers do. And they do it often. They do it systematically. Some people are a little bit choosy about which ones they promote. So I'm going to put promotions up there because it really is determined, I think, by the individual seller. Descriptions are important, I think. They're just not that important. I have never done good descriptions. A lot of times I'll hit that AI button and I'll read it and it's ridiculous. It sounds stupid. And the item sells in like 5 minutes, you know, well, maybe not 5 minutes, but you get the point. It sells quickly. Sometimes I used to just put I ship quickly in the description. Like 10 years ago, that's all I put, I ship quickly. Because I used my pictures for the description quite often. If there was something wrong with an item, I would say, hey, you know, go see this picture, and we do it that way. And then item specifics. I do think item specifics are important. I'm not saying they're not important. They're just not nearly as important as the top 4. They definitely help you in search. That's been shown and proven, and a lot of people have talked to me about it for years. I just don't know if it's so important that I'm going to spend an extra X amount of minutes to do it. If the other things are all good, it's not as important if the sell-through rate is good, for instance. And so I'm not going to put it near the top of my list of 5. I'm going to grab one more item and then we're going to hit number 4. And this was one that I thought would be hanging around for a long time, but it actually sold pretty quick. I remember picking this item up. It was a slow morning and there wasn't many sales out. And whenever that happens, I tend to dig a little deeper and see if I can find something worth selling. And she was selling this basket for a couple of bucks. Flipped it over and it said Pioneer Woman on it. And I don't think there was any sold comps, maybe one listed, but it was high at the time. And I'm like, you know what? I bet that'll sell. And it did. It did sell. And it sold for $30 plus shipping. Now, I know a lot of people out there are already disagreeing with me. And some people will be like, you know, I sell X amount through promotions. And I get all that. My argument here is that it can be a part of it, but you could do promotions and have everything else wrong and nothing's going to sell. These other things, to me anyways, are more significant. And, you know, same thing, you know, people are like, you know, I'm a believer. I know Chernock says, you know, he wants to get that whole circle checked off, right? So he wants to have all those item specifics in there. And it definitely helps. I'm not saying these things aren't important. They're on the list, so they are somewhat important. And there's going to be some folks that put some other things down here that are important as well. And this is just the order I came up with. So number 4 for me is the photo of the item. And I am no photo snob. I think a decent picture does the trick most of the time. If you're in highly competitive categories with sell-through rates that aren't great, the picture is even more important. And the people who put the time into the amazing pictures oftentimes get a payoff. But for me, it's always a balance of time versus money. And so for me, pictures are just that. They're just pictures. You need a decent picture. Every once in a while, when I have an item that I really want to sell, I'll take time. I'll do a background on it. I'll make it look really good. And it does help the item sell. But to me, it's not always worth the time you have to put into them. So I'm going to put photos at number 4 if you have bad pictures. I think that's just going to absolutely really hurt your chances of selling the item unless all the other things are correct. One simple thing, since I don't take great pictures with great backgrounds and all the lighting and all that stuff, one thing I have found has helped me quite a bit is I zoom in on the picture. To have a big picture and have the item be small in the picture, I think is a very easy thing to fix, and to crop it so the item appears to be bigger is just a simple thing that I do. And I know there's people out there who have elaborate pictures, and I applaud you. I think it really helps an item sell. I'm going to put it for me at number 4. The next item I picked up at a sale in Florida not too long ago, and the lady was super sweet and she was super excited to get rid of her stuff, but her prices for a lot of things were a little bit higher than I wanted to pay. But I did find something that I could make money on at $10, and it's this Danbury mint bracelet. I like to pick up Danbury mint stuff from time to time, as long as it's not a collector plate. And it's this rose bracelet here. I don't know if you can see that or not. It looked like it had never been worn, and I grabbed it for $10. I wanted to buy something from her. She just was a sweet lady. And so I picked this up for $10, and it sold rather quickly for $34. This one may have been to a viewer, though. Let me go look. It was to viewer. Went to Jomar, I think is the name. Utterly amazing deals. I love that name. Thanks so much again, and thank you for the inspiration. So, Jomar, we appreciate you. I hope you enjoy that bracelet. Coming in at number 3 for me is the title. Now, I'm not going to go and do a video about titles. You can go find those out there. There's quite a few good ones. But I'll just summarize why I think the title is very, very important. It's just searchability. Same thing with, item descriptions. The more searchable your item is, the better off you are. And I'm not great at titles either, but I've gotten a little bit better over the years. And when I have an item that isn't selling, one thing I will go do is I'll rearrange the title a little bit. I'll look, when I'm making my listings, I'll look at other listings that did sell for good money, top dollar. And sometimes there's a keyword in those listings that aren't in the other ones. And those are the ones I want to pick out, and I'll use their title, and then I'll adapt it a little bit. I'll add things in that maybe the other ones don't have. The order of the words in the title is important as well. All those descriptive terms at the beginning, sometimes you bury what the item actually is until the end. So those first 5 words, how would you search for it? This is my very unscientific method for creating a title. How would you search for it? And maybe those are the words you should have at the beginning of your title. So I'm going to put title at number 3. This one was actually inside, which would normally be an item we keep out here. But, well, let me tell you the story about it. This deluxe Yahtzee edition, sealed, sold for $80 plus shipping. Now, I've never had much luck selling Yahtzee games very much. A lot of other games I've had a lot of success with, but Yahtzee's never been one of them. But my boy loves Yahtzee. It's one of his favorite games to play. He plays it with his grandma, plays it with his mom and the kids. And so I picked that one up at a sale, not thinking for resale at all. I bought it for $2. It was a sealed Yahtzee game. I'm like, I'm going to give it to him for Christmas. But I talked to my wife. He's got Yahtzee in there already. I looked this thing up, and I'm like, this thing sells. She's like, sell it. I'm like, okay, no big deal. She had already bought 2 other board games for him. I'm like, I have permission to sell this thing. I'll buy him a brand new Yahtzee 2 years from now, because that edition goes really, really well. I'd even call it a bolo, because the sell-through rate on it is crazy. And that's the next one on my list. Number 2 is sell-through rate. I mean, I just snapped a picture. I was in there literally wrapping presents because I was initially going to give it to him when we were talking about this. I'm like, well, I'll just snap a picture and list it. And then when I went to list it a couple days later, it sold very quickly and 80 bucks came in. Now I put it a little bit under the going rate and I wanted to have this for this video. There are sold comps out there for like $100. Now there are some, you know, that are under $80, which is what we got, but the sell-through rate on this one is crazy. I don't even think there's very many sealed deluxe Yahtzee games out there right now. And so if you can find an item that sells quickly, that has a good value attached to it, you're going to make sales, period. Your pictures can even stink. Your titles can even stink. As long as you have that stuff in there, you don't need to promote it because it's not going to help anyways, because the thing is going to sell so fast that the promotion can't kick in. Now, here's where I have a small disagreement with a lot of folks out there. Sell-through rate for me isn't the end-all and be-all, but this is about getting your items to sell and getting them to sell quickly. And that is the definition of selling quickly. I gotta grab something out of here in a second, but my minor difference is that there are circumstances where sell-through rate isn't that big of a deal for some people. You know, if you don't need the money as quickly, for instance, if you have very little money tied into it and you know it will sell, but the sell-through rate might not be great, then who cares? It doesn't really make a difference. I'm looking for crankcase here. If you have the space, that's another one. I think that's crankcase. And space is a big deal for people. So sell-through rate for the people who have a little amount of space and have a need to turn that capital over is a huge deal. Here is an example of how picture can really help. So this guy's helmet comes off. If you have something that has multiple pieces that you have all together in one, I would suggest taking it apart and putting it where the people who are looking at the picture can see all three of the parts in the picture clearly without having to really look at the picture. Does that guy have a helmet? If you take the helmet and you put it here, it's helpful. So this is crankcase, and this one sold for, it's 1985 by the way, sold for $24 plus shipping. I need to put that on my list there, but size also makes a difference, right? If you're looking at sell-through rate on something, if it's a big item with a slow sell-through rate, you got issues. If it's a tiny item that you can put 40 of in a little case and stick them in the back of the shed, not as big of a deal. So all these things I'm talking about aren't necessarily created equally. This one, it says repeat buyer here. So Ruben, I'm going to make an assumption maybe you are a viewer, and if you are, thank you. We appreciate it. I hope you enjoy Crankcase. I've got to go back here and get a ladder, but promotions, item specifics, description, photo, title, sell-through rate, and then I'm going to get to my number one. But before I do, I'm going to grab one more item, and no, it's not the Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan is not for sale. Most everything in this place is for sale. Some of them aren't. He's not. Sarah Daily Cabbage gave me that one, and let's see. I'm not sure I can get it out with one hand. Maybe I'll just show it to you. I'll grab it in a minute. This Joe Cool phone right here. I just love Peanuts. I love Snoopy. That sold for $50. Plus shipping. I just love looking at the advertising and stuff like that. I mean, look at that old room, boy. It's got a Nintendo there and some games on the ground. You gotta love it. So it's somewhat hard between number 2 and number 1. Sell-through rate is extremely important, but to me, the most important thing, assuming all the other things are correct, or sometimes assuming none of them are correct, because number 1 can trump all the other stuff sometimes, is price. And I just don't mean the selling price. I mean the total price, and we've talked about this with shipping before. Shipping is part of the price, and if you have calculated shipping on, that higher shipping rate is going to be affecting a lot of the buyers that are far away from you, depending on where you're at. So for us, a lot of those buyers are in California and, you know, the West Coast, so it's a lot more expensive if we're doing calculated shipping. If you're in the West Coast, most of the population in the United States lives on the East Coast, and you're doing calculated shipping, it can affect you that way. So the total price, which is why I'm doing predominantly flat rate shipping at this point. There are some exceptions to the rule, but price plus shipping, in other words, the total cost to the customer, and for me it doesn't vary per customer because we're doing flat rate shipping. Cost is extremely important. Most of the time when I have somebody who says, you know, nothing is selling out of my store or whatever, and I rarely go on and look at people's stores, but when I do, 95% of the time, it's because their items, whether it's the price itself or the combination, their shipping is way too high, price plus shipping, they're just not competitive. They're asking top dollar for their item. in an item that might not have a great sell-through rate. Even if it does have a great sell-through rate and you're way above the market, you're not going to sell it. So price is the single most important thing, in my opinion. Now, all those other things help, but price can, if you have a bad picture and your price is amazing, it's the best price out there, a lot of times you'll sell it. If it is a low sell-through rate item, the only way you're going to be able to sell that thing is by having a competitive price and by having all those other things in there as well. So for me, the biggest thing is to have a good competitive price. That's not to say you have to have the lowest item in the market. As a matter of fact, the better you do at all those other things, the higher price you can ask for it and still get sales. But for a lot of folks out there, that's just not what's happening. Sometimes I'll see bad pictures and I'll see bad titles, and I don't have great pictures on all my items, so you can go critique it. Trust me, I'm like maybe 50%. I do decent pictures, and my titles aren't always good. Matter of fact, some of them are downright bad. But overall, I do all of those things good enough that if I put a competitive price on it, it's usually going to sell. And if it doesn't, it's my fault because it doesn't have a very good sell-through rate. Had a dibdit.com sale. I don't really want to take all these out. Let's see if I can just find it. I sold both Taz's. $10 total plus shipping. I put these over there. See, price. I put these over there at a slightly lower rate than I have them on eBay, because the fees are cheaper for me. That's not it. Marvin the Martian. So there's the blue Taz to go with the red Taz. They're $5 plus shipping a piece, but over there you can do, what do they call it? Progressive shipping. So I think we added like $1 extra for the second shipping or something like that. So these are going out of here for $10 plus shipping. So let me know if you like my top 5. If you disagree with my top 5, have no problem either way. I'm more just curious. You know, I always say, as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. I kind of build my opinions off of the opinions and learning and research of other folks. But at the same time, we each have our own individual circumstances and situations, and those kind of things matter. So tell me if yours is a little different and why it's a little different. So this Coach bag, it went out on a, I don't know if it's 5% or a send offer. It's got a few issues with it. It's a really nice bag, but you see there's just a few little things with it, and it's still sold for $68 and change plus shipping. One of those things I just seem to pick up regardless. There it is right there. The Sony Walkmans. This is the old digital non-cassette type. They don't go for a bunch, but whenever I find them, especially with the original headphones, I grab them because I just loved them when I was a kid. I remember listening to Angel Games on AM radio and all that when I was a kid, and being able to sneak it in my bed when my parents tell me to go to bed and I could still listen to music. And these sold for just under $16 plus shipping. I'm not a huge seller of Squishmallows, but occasionally if they're super cheap, I'll grab them. Or super unique or anything like that. My daughter's usually with me, she'll grab them. And this one was in pretty good shape. I figured it was 50 cents at a sale, so I figured what the heck. And it doesn't sell for much, but $9.85 plus shipping. Next one is in this bin. I'm gonna have to dig it out. It's an Anna Lee doll, and a lot of times you'll see the mice and the pilgrims and the holidays and stuff, but occasionally you'll see a different one. I think I see it right there. I see a frog leg, and this frog sold, and I'm trying to grab it without hurting it. There we go. That little Christmas frog sold with the tag right there on it, and it sold for more than it originally sold for way back in the day. This one sold for $28.45 plus shipping, and it went to Lois. Hi Kevin, repeat buyer, and I'm so glad to get this Anna Lee frog. I'm kind of a collector of them because of my late mother, but I don't remember seeing much of anything other than elves and mice. Can't wait to add this to my collection. Thank you. Happy New Year to you as well. Lola, did I say Lois? Lola, thank you so much. Hope you enjoy the frog. You're gonna absolutely love it when this happens here. So I can find those pins. Remember these Mustang pins we've been selling them off? 3 for $10. I gotta count them here, but it says quantity is gone. All of them sold. So 5 different purchases. So 15 pins. I'll have to count them out. Sold for $50 plus shipping. And that Mustang buy we had, we are already, well, we've been in the pure profit for a while and still have a few items left to sell. Looks like we have a couple more to go. We're also giving these away over one at a time on our Whatnot auctions as well from time to time. And I'm trying to find, there it is. Probably put this up, especially when I'm picking up a big old glass thing here. This is a 4.5 liter. I have avoided picking up the small ones unless they're like $1. I'm taking a chance here, y'all. Taking a chance. I guess if I'm still filming this, you know I succeeded, because if I broke it, I wouldn't put it on the video. Dave would. 4.5 liter Amber Visions Corningware. It's got a little dust on it. It's been sitting there a little while. And this one sold for $39 plus shipping. So I'll pick them up if they're like $5. Even at like 10 or 15, sometimes it's tough because it takes a little while to package them to make sure they don't break, and you got to double box them. Speaking of Whatnot auctions, we are going to probably do 3 in January. I'm going to make a big push here by the end of February to clear out a ton of stuff, and then we'll probably slow those auctions down over there at that point. But I want to get this stuff cleared out of here. We're going to reduce some prices on some items that have been around for a while, because I love to have space in here, have space in. Mike, Death Pile Picker, told me I should, since there's no sponsor for that shed currently, he says you should just call it your Death Pile Den and then promote me every time you do it. So there you go, Mike. I did it. Any rate, that right there is a nice little sale, but I'm more excited, not for the money, but for the space up there. And I'm going to try to sell a lot of big things and put them on discount as well to get them out and get ready for that big push as spring starts, so we can get out there to those yard sales. Speaking of Whatnot, come on over there at the end of January especially, but bookmark all those, because we're going to be doing some giant lots of stuff, because I'm really dedicated to clearing that out. We're going to be doing like 20 t-shirts at a time and just selling stuff. I actually bought this over there on Whatnot. I'm pretty sure is where I got this. And I thought it was really cool. And it might have been with some other stuff, and I had free shipping at that point. And I'm like, man, I can make all my money back on the other stuff with this t-shirt. And I did. It sold for $19 plus shipping. Made in the USA, single stitch, middle of nowhere, Laredo, Texas. 2 feet from hell, 30 miles from water. I believe this was the last of our 50-50 auctions right here, and Elizabeth grabbed it and has subsequently made a donation by buying it to St. Jude. So thank you for that sticker and the old flat ornament right there. So thank you very much, Elizabeth, and St. Jude thanks you too. Still selling those Damn It dolls, but today I'm going to grab all 3. I just wrote them all down in the same spot so I didn't have to come back here 3 times. Now I just have to remember which ones. So one of them said Denver colors, so that's the Broncos colors, right? Yeah, pretty sure. And one of them's a cannabis doll. I think that one was 12 plus shipping. Cannabis doll. That one's open. That must have been the one we took a picture with. I'll save that to the end and change the listing. And that one sold for 25 plus shipping. And then one more jungle one. I think that should be it for the jungle one. Unless I already shipped that one. I can't remember. I shipped a ton last night, so I was jumping around. There it is, right there. There was one more left, so $13 plus shipping. So right there's $50 worth. Is that my math right? $50 worth plus shipping on 3 different orders, and about half of them are going to viewers. So I'm going to double check and make sure. I bet 1 or 2 of them are going to viewers. The cannabis one I just saw was a viewer. Tara's Vintage Treasure Shop on eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, and Etsy. And she says this is going to be a late Christmas gift for her brother, who she thinks will get a kick out of it. She says it's been a very stressful year. She might have to come back and get 10 more. So, Tara, we appreciate it. I hope he enjoys it. And I forgot to add crankcase to our A Real American Hero sale. Brings us to $3,350. After fees, after shipping. I want to thank Robert, even though I don't know your viewer, just in case, and Elizabeth. Elizabeth says she works for lawyers, so it'll get a lot of use. Had to grab the Vera bin. People keep telling me Vera doesn't sell, and I keep selling it. And, you know, they're right to some degree, but, you know, the keys are find the pattern and put the pattern in the title. So we talk about title, finding the correct pattern. People look for patterns, and it helps you sell them. Buy the ones that aren't faded. You'll see the colors on all these are good. There's no fraying. So good condition. Find the title. Buy it super cheap, because they don't sell for a ton of money. And you can usually get some sales, but you got to be low in the market. $23.70 for that weekender bag plus shipping. I notice the animals aren't following me around. We're taking care of some little ones from our friends. We're kind of watching after them for a few days. And so the animals want to be around them like crazy. This is not a single stitch shirt. It is nutmeg, made in the USA, and it is in good condition. And it is a size XL. And it has this cool list on the back of all the races that year. So this one has a decent sell-through rate. $22.99 plus shipping. Hey, I saw a message in the messaging system from Krista for that bag right there. So Krista, I want to say thank you for that. Now I got a bunch of Tupperware going out of here, and you know, I love viewer sales. They're awesome. We have about the normal rate today. About 20% of the sales are going to viewers, but this was a big lot, so I'm going to have to dig it out for you. But I'm going to say thank you really quick to Amy, and that's Finds for All Minds on eBay. And let me read it. Hi, Kevin. I'm an avid watcher since I started reselling a little over a year ago, and I've learned so much from you and Dave and Carrie. Really? But you don't have to tell them that. I love all the channels and the Trash to Cash podcast and keeping up with your sweet family. I love vintage Tupperware, so I grabbed a few for my collection. I hope your new year brings you all much continued success. Thanks for all you do. So we will package that all up, and if I can remember, we'll give you the shipping discount as well. And if I forget, don't forget to send me a little message and a nudge to remind me. And I've done a terrible job of thanking folks who sent us stuff for Christmas, and I'm going to try to do that. I'll throw one in here over the next few weeks. Matt's Profit Pursuits. Matt, thank you. We mentioned him the other day in his YouTube channel. And I saw your note on the bottom of the box, by the way. That was funny, but I'm not going to repeat it. Here's what Amy got. These cups, these soup bowls, and all of those cups and the orange sifter. I think it's right about 55 bucks for those. And I just saw Renee bought something over there on Dibbed It as well. Dusty Treasures. I think that's right. Actually, you bought 4 things. Something like that. Yeah, you got some of those Taz keychains as well. $15 plus shipping. And this dark crystal. Be honest with you, I wanted it to sit right there. I just so love this. I mean, look at that. How cool is that? And this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. The cool stuff I really love. I've been posting over there on Dibbed It. Like, maybe it won't sell. Maybe I get to keep it. Anyway, that one sold $17 plus shipping. I love the progressive shipping, because if somebody buys something over multiple days over there, or even a live auction can be combined with a static item, or if you do 2 live auctions, like one on Friday, one on Sunday, you can ship it out on Monday, and it still combines all the shipping for them. So that's really cool. $17 plus shipping, and then I'll have to go find those keychains as well, but I'm not going to do that right now. So thank you, and I'm going to make sure I get this right. At @R_Dusty Treasures, Renee. Thank you for that purchase over there on dibbedit.com. So I went and grabbed those, and I mentioned this before, but I don't see if any of these folks who bought over there used it. But if you use code Commonwealth at checkout, if it's your very first purchase over there, you get a free $5. And that's why I actually put these over there, because they're $5. So all you have to do is pay shipping. So thank you again for that. Sold an ET lot. This one went to Susan. See if I can remember. Thank you, Susan. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it. Gertie. Got that one. And I call this from Flower Power. I don't know what the heck it is, but that pin, I think these are going for like $5.99 each. What's the other one? Oh, ET and Drag. This one goes for a little bit more. We don't have as many of those. They go pretty quick. And we appreciate that. That whole lot went for $20 plus shipping. So we appreciate you, Susan, for watching. I hope you enjoy those pins. This next one's a big one. Whew. Hard to carry with one hand. It is a Yamaha subwoofer system, and that one sold. It's not a great item, but I bought this and like 4 other pieces for like $10. It was ridiculous. Or maybe 20. And this one sold for $49 plus shipping. And it's already boxed up. All right, I almost forgot, sold some Barney Miller DVDs. The whole set, the complete series, sealed $25.99 plus shipping. Went to Daniel. Daniel, appreciate the purchase. Hi, Joe. You might remember this. We've actually sold it before, but they canceled the order. It is this G-Shock. G-Shocks sell pretty darn well, and I've never seen this one before. This one is actually headed to Jared. NorCal Arbitrage. We sold this one as is, and because there's no battery for it, but NorCal Arbitrage, thank you very much. $44 plus shipping. All right, I got a lot of work to do today. A lot of shipping that has to be done. I'm gonna have to call in reinforcements, I'm afraid, because I got about an hour and a half before I got to get out of here, and these have to get to the post office before it closes. Yesterday's shipment. But I wanted to say thank you to everybody for dropping by. 2 reminders: your Q4 coupon for those of you who have an eBay store above the first level is out. You can go get your free eBay shipping supplies. I did a video about that, but I think everybody knows how to do that at this point. Speaking of videos, I did a My Reseller Genie video, and I wanted to remind people of that as you head into the new year. It is a great thing. If you're stressing out about taxes already, to go right now and to figure something out. If it's not My Reseller Genie, you know, make that correction now and start tracking all that stuff. It's automated over there, and they just added for you Poshmarkers on their top level over there, and I don't know how much it is. You have to go check their prices. It's pretty darn reasonable, I can tell you that, compared to a lot of other things, and it takes a load off your mind. Poshmark, they've just added automatic integrations into Poshmark for you Poshmark sellers, and of course they have eBay and multiple eBay stores, and they do so much in tracking all that stuff for you so your hands can be off and focus on what you love to do. It is code Commonwealth. Use that and you get 15% off your first month. But if you want to learn more about it, go watch this video right here. We did an interview with Faith and Paul. They are awesome people, and I am very proud to talk about them when I have the chance. So thank you. Leave your top 5 things that help get your items sold. I didn't do send offers, and I probably should have put it on there. I just started thinking about that as I was doing this, and I'm sure people are putting that down below. Send offers or best offer. I don't do best offer. Well, I do it on some items, but I don't do it on every item. And I definitely do send offers. They do get things moving pretty quickly. Oh, and I didn't put get an Inaman. Of course, get an Inaman. We'll get those auctions back up and running pretty quick. Thank y'all again, as always, for joining us, and I can't wait to see you next time.